It's very lovely to be here. It's very lovely to have Jennifer Sexton here from Canadian Tire. How are you?
Great, thanks.
Excellent. It's the Live 85 Startup Your Backyard show, and we wanted to talk about all big things. So, for instance, we've got Paul Carrier from the LCBO talking about big wines to go with all the big barbecue that you do throughout the summer.
Yeah.
That's coming up in just a little bit. But some really great outdoor gear that you brought along, and the barbecue's fantastic by Centro.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exclusive to Canadian Tire.
It's like four burners on this thing.
Right.
What we found about it was that it really controls the heat well. You turn it down, it goes down almost immediately.
Yeah, well, that's an advantage of having a propane or a natural gas barbecues. You can really control the heat level.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, when I'm barbecue shopping, what do I look for? Just the biggest one is the best one, or is there more to it than
No,
that?
more to it than that.
Okay.
The first thing you want to ask yourself is how are you using it? How often are you using it? Are you using it every day? Special occasions? How many people are you going to feed?
Right.
What kinds of cooking are you doing? Are you just doing meats, or are you going to be doing vegetables and using your wok? So those are the kinds of questions you want to start with.
Why would you need a different barbecue to do vegetables than meat?
You wouldn't.
Okay.
However, if you were doing your meat and you wanted to do your vegetables on the side, you need a side burner.
Right.
Or, you mentioned the wok as well. Finding a barbecue that has enough height so that you can put the wok in there and close the lid, because you've got the second grill as well. Sometimes the second grill doesn't allow enough room for you to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
I think typically people should look at a few things when they shop. First of all is everyone talks about BTUs, but it's not necessarily the most important thing. It is how much heat your barbecue will retain, but you're not just going to go for the highest BTUs. You're going to look at cooking space and the cooking grid to decide how much heat it's going to retain. So for instance, you could have a smaller barbecue with lower BTUs but still have great heat distribution.
Right.
And this one sort of surprised me because there's no lava rocks in it. Is that just is weird? I'm so used to pouring lava rocks into the gas barbecue.
Right. Well, the newer barbecues now are using a stainless steel burner system, and they come in different shapes. There's an H shape, a U shape, and with the H and U shapes, your heating comes both centrally and at the periphery.
Right.
So it's even heat distribution.
Okay, so you just don't need it. And connected to it is a sink.
Connected to it is a sink. That's optional. But what we're seeing, the trend is that people want a full and fully functional outdoor kitchen. They want to be able to prepare everything outside. They don't want to have to traipse back into the kitchen inside. They want to stay with their guests, stay outdoors. So this will help you wash your veggies, do your dishes, clean up as you go, and have everything right at your fingertips.
Yep. So it's very handy. There's a garbage disposal underneath that thing when you open it up. So you can just throw all the end pieces and stuff like that from your veggies.
And I thought the sink would be a little more complicated to hook up, but all I did, don't tell anybody, was run the garden hose into the sink, and it works fine.
Oh, good.
Is that what people are expected to do with this? You're supposed to plumb it in somehow or other?
Actually, that I don't know. I can check, but if you figured it out, I did. Did you follow the instructions?
No.
That handbag of bolts.
There's some extra parts.
Yeah. But as far as he's right, Dave is all about tech stuff. So as far as plug and play, that thing works great.
Now, there's a cover over the whole thing as well.
That's a barbecue gazebo, and again, it's just to provide a little shelter in case it's trickling rain.
Yeah, now that's fairly new too. This year or last year, I think those first came out. But you have the big outdoor patio set with its own cover and all that stuff. Now the barbecue gets its own cover.
That's right, and the chef gets to keep dry, and the barbecue is kept clean, and all of those things. It's really sort of providing an outdoor room, as David mentioned earlier. It's really creating an outdoor room and extending your season.
Now, I remember there was a little bit of panic when this barbecue cover came out. You can't be barbecuing underneath any sort of a roof. Like, that's got to be a concern.
Well, I think it has to be a certain distance, and as well, if that's the trick, it's high enough that you're not going to set it on fire. So.
Right. And it's not closed in. There's no walls, so
So
you're
good.
good.
The ventilation is good. That's the key with barbecuing, is you want lots of ventilation. As you can see, there's lots.
Yeah.
Cool.
Let's move on here. We've got Jennifer Sexton from Canadian Tire on with the Live 85 Startup. It's Catfish and Dave here, and it's a Startup Your Backyard show, and a couple of nice tote items that you have brought along as well. Great to have storage in the back, and that gets used. Let's start with a big storage unit there, but that gets used really well if you've got cushions that you leave out. You know, you got this whole set here with cushions on every chair, and you need a place to put the cushions instead of hauling them back in the house. So that works great.
Yes, the storage is virtually for anything that you want, that you have in your backyard. It could be kids' toys, it could be pool items, it could be your gardening, your gardening gloves, whatever you have that you want stored. It just keeps them within easy reach.
Then there's two options. There's one that's just a storage unit, another one that sort of hides into a bench.
Yes, so it could be double as seating. That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Extra seating, and it coordinates well with the other pieces that are here.
And then I think the last thing, unless I've forgotten something, is an umbrella that goes over top of a table.
Yes.
It's sort of a new design. Like for years and years, it was an umbrella you stuck in the middle of the table and opened up. This one sort of goes off to the side and has a big arm that like reaches over top.
Yes.
And it doesn't tip.
It's a freestanding umbrella, so doesn't necessarily go with a patio set. You can use it with any patio set or your conversational sets. You might have a love seat and a coffee table in your garden, and you want protection from the sun. You can put that.
Yeah, good point. And then what's great about it is because it doesn't have a center pole, it doesn't get in the way of that conversational set. You know?
Yeah.
It comes in from the side and hangs over top. Yeah.
Well, and my first thought was this thing's going to tip over and ruin my dinner party. Like, is that a big problem? What do you do to make sure it doesn't happen?
No, it's stable. I mean, it's stable in the base.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weighted at the base.
Yes.
Okay. You just got to make sure it's well weighted down. It's designed for that, though.
That's
obviously.
right.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Very cool. Well, thank you very much for dropping by.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And we've got some blender drinks.